Hello everybody, I just wanted to give you guys a starter in-game Druid build. For those of you that are playing this build, if you want to know how you can make it good past level 50, obviously getting to level 50 is pretty easy because companion skills are really a strong base, but once you get to 50, obviously that's when you're going to need to start getting aspects so you can actually scale. So I don't have everything together that would be like insanely ideal, but I'll show you the version I'm running, and then I'm going to put a link in the description to a version that would be considered like what I would say is probably going to be the most optimal build. But right now I'm just going to show you what I'm doing because I'm testing out some stuff like rabies and stuff like that. And I also have some other things that had dropped for me. But anyways, let's go ahead and hop on into it. So I have Disobedience on, then I have Virulent Aspect on, and then I have Aspect of Might on for like the defensive aspects. Now, if I wasn't doing the whole rabies thing and testing out rabies and seeing if I can make it good, I'd probably have Aspect of Adaptability on here. And then at some point, I haven't just found a good one yet, but I would use Juggernaut's Aspect. So if you're not familiar with like what Juggernaut's Aspect does, it just gives you a really large amount of armor. It scales with the item power of the item. So like for example, I had one of my friends had found one and it did like 4,300 armor. That's like insane. Like that's like look at it. That would literally double my armor, right? So then when you factor in putting something like percent total armor or something like that on the item, well then all of a sudden, you know, you have your armor cap very, very easily to the point where you probably don't even necessarily need to use Disobedience. So once you hit that armor cap, you can actually, with the Juggernaut, you can swap out Disobedience for something like Aspect of Might. Or, I mean, I don't know if you find the Harlequin Crest or something, if you're doing Ubers, I mean, that obviously isn't going to be bad, but yeah, so that is it for the defensives. When it comes to offensive ones, so I'm using the Pain Gorder's Gauntlets. What you can do here is you can actually use Conceited Aspect, and the reason for that is because I'm running Aspect of Nature's Savagery. If you're not familiar with Conceited Aspect increases your damage by 25% while you have a barrier. I'm using Aspect of Nature's Savagery, so that means I have better access to getting the barriers. And if you go over here, I'm not using it yet, but I will be in the near future. And that is, where is it at? Protector? I think it is what it is called. Yes. No, it's not Protector. This one is Poise. So you have a 30% chance when shapeshifting to gain a barrier that absorbs 15% of your max life. This got buffed in this season, so I think putting this on and then running Conceited Aspect is actually a pretty viable option now, whereas before I don't think it was that viable, but now since we actually have a way to get two different barriers, so you can take this. I haven't decided exactly where to put it at in the Paragon node yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards this one is probably going to be the best spot because it has the most general stuff that we could increase, like for example our resist all as well as our whatchamacallit, gosh, why I'm having a brain fart here. As well as just like basic damage, so I think that's pretty good, and it does specifically the rare nodes, so pretty good. I think this will probably end up being the best spot for it, but yeah, so after that, if you do have Pain Gorgers, you can use that. I just got lucky in this drop for me, so I think it was pretty good. After that, you know, Symbiotic Aspect, this is what makes it to where the Nature's Savagery will actually proc off of your Nature's Fury, so you do need both of those for that to work before you start using Conceited Aspect. If you don't have those two legendaries, it's not very useful to use Conceited Aspect yet, so just hold on to one if you find it. After that, I'm using Rapid Aspect on a one-hander, and then I'm using Aspect of the Stampede. Now, I could technically, you know, use a two-hander and use Edge Masters, or use a two-hander and use Aspect of the Alpha, but the thing is that I don't feel like I'm getting an insane amount of value. I don't want to just focus on wolves that much because, you know, the higher up you go, they're going to start to die more. So I think putting like full focus into the wolves isn't really that great. So, you know, you want to be careful on. So you definitely want to be careful on that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the items. So I don't have perfect stats or anything by any means. If you care about that kind of stuff, I will have the stat stuff in the link in the description, so that'll have like all the secondary stats and stuff you should go for. And keep in mind though that when it comes to your resistances, that you're gonna have to kind of do that depending on what your RNG is on your rings, because some rings have shadow, fire, etc. So you just need to adjust your resistances to try to get them as high as possible. I'm not capped out yet, but that is something I'm working on. And as you get higher level, it'll become easier. When it comes to skills and abilities, I have Claw maxed out, 3 points into Predatory Instinct, Earthen Bulwark, Enhanced Earthen Bulwark, Preserving, just to help build up Fortify, Ancestral Fortitude, Vigilance. I have all the companion skills maxed out. I'm using Enhanced Wolf Pack, Ferocious Wolf Pack. Honestly, I don't even know. I think this is actually better. I was trying to decide between the two, but I think this is probably going to be better for now, because honestly, I don't really have a whole lot of issues staying fortified. So Poison Creeper, Enhanced Poison Creeper, Ferocious. Ferocious just doubles the damage of your Poison Creepers, which is really good. 3 points into Call of the Wild to give all your companions more damage. Ravens, Enhanced Ravens, and I do go Brutal Ravens because it just increases the passive damage by a decent chunk. These do like 34,000 to 42,000 per hit, so it's not terrible, and I'll explain why they actually are doing a bit more damage in a second. So then we have Rabies, Enhanced Rabies, Savage Rabies, and that's just because I'm testing out Rabies. If I wasn't using Rabies, I'd probably go like maybe Petrify or something like that, or I would actually just run another defensive, because another thing you can do, if you wanted to, is you could go that, I think it's called Beastmaster's Aspect or something like that. Now you would lose, access to your barrier, so you'd want to swap out your Conceited Aspect, but that, if you wanted to test that out, you could go like Debilitating Roar. You could go as like Debilitating Roar, and then on top of that, you would go this, so it would give your companions an extra 30% damage and 30% attack speed. So not bad, but yeah. So then we're going Neurotoxin, Envenom, Toxic Claws, and then Nature's Fury. So that's going to be it for the skills. When it comes to Paragon, I don't have a full Paragon board yet, and as this is a starter build, you're not going to have a full Paragon board, so it's kind of pointless for me to put like the full thing out there. But what I will do is I'll tell you the glyphs that you want to focus on first. So the first glyphs that you want to focus on is you're going to want to make sure you get Exploit up, because that's going to be a 20% damage buff, being able to apply that to things. And then you're also going to want to get Wilds. So Wilds got buffed, so the passive portion does 120% instead of 80% now. So because of that, that's why like you're noticing like Ravens is doing a little bit more damage this season, as well as the Wolves and the Poison Creeper on the passives, is because this just got buffed by 40%, which in all actuality is a pretty big buff. Now, is it enough? I mean, I will say this, you do notice the passive damage more, but I still think that they still have more work to do on the companions, but it does help, and it does do a little bit more. But yeah, this is going to be like the #1 thing you want to focus on. Like, and I go into the Inner Beast because it gives 55 intelligence, and then after that I go over to Heightened Malice because this gives you another 45%. So keep in mind, this has like 34,000 to 42,000, but once you get like Heightened Malice going and the other stuff, all this damage goes up even higher. Most of the damage though is kind of loaded into the actives on companions still. Who knows, hopefully they change that. That's okay. Yeah, so you want Wilds, and then Spirit's going to be pretty decent because it gives you another 12% buff. Keep in mind that when you're playing Zoo Druid, these damage over time effects can't crit. So like just going kind of like super gung-ho in Spirit, I'm not 100% convinced is a super good thing, because it really only benefits, I would say, the Wolves more than anybody if you have a lot of attack speed and crit, because it'll make it to the Wolves can, obviously crit harder on their passive damage. But so I'm not going super hard in this yet. I am going to test it out and see, because I am curious. But doing things like Territorial is pretty good, and doing things like Undaunted, so like more damage while you're fortified, is also pretty good. But really the main one you want is Wilds to start out. This is going to be like 100% the one thing that you're going to see the biggest damage increase, and it'll be noticeable is once you get Wilds up to 15. So yeah, but anyways, so that's really it for the Paragon. All I can really say there is that I'll end up releasing another video that's going to have like an actual full in-game build once I get to 100, and once I actually get all the uniques, so you can see what it looks like at level 100. But I just wanted to show you guys this, so you can figure out how do I play it before I get all the uniques, right? So Moving on, let's go ahead. I'll just show you here that this build's more than capable of like farming the uniques if you want to go that route. And this is with me playing this weird like rabies version. Honestly, if you're doing Ubers, you really shouldn't run like this rabies thing. And then and then also, if you're wondering why his like shield is dying so fast, it's because I have breaking support on my Seneschal companion, so it's pretty good against like the Butcher, Varshan, etc. Oh. Whoa. Oh. And I am noticing something pretty interesting with this, is I actually get a decent amount of resets even without Crone Staff, which is pretty nice. So this has been the best setup that I've found to still get like a somewhat decent amount of resets. And then boom, yeah. So it's not like super crazy yet. Like if I had a Crone Staff and I was doing the Crone Staff setup, like the DPS would end up being even higher, and I'd be getting even more resets. But I'm still getting a decent amount of them. Oh my gosh. And also, I think taking Petrify on the Uber bosses is like way better. Okay. I think I'm just going to try to DPS him out of this and not really worry too much about anything else. Yeah. Yep, so there you go. So yeah, like you can see, oh my gosh, that's 2 runs in a row I didn't even get a unique on that. That kind of sucks, but yeah. But that's, yeah, but you can see pretty easily able to do Varshan. Just make sure you get to like level 80 or 85. Like if the Ubers are the hardest when you try to do them specifically at level. If you get up like 10 levels higher than them, it'll get your glyphs leveled up and stuff like that. You'll notice it'll be a breeze. Also, when it comes to this thing here, so I don't have everything I need yet, but just to show you guys what I'm doing, I'm just going to pull, or what I think is the best, because I don't have everything I need yet here, so because I don't have Tempest, so it kind of ruins the whole thing. So Tempest with breaking support, safeguard support, and gripping support, so you get damage reduction, and it will also break barrier effect. So if you're into things like the Butcher, if you're doing Ubers like Varshan, like you saw, he shields a lot, this is really good for just breaking the shields. And then after that, Flash of Adrenaline with tactical support, duration support, and initiative support is going to be the best. Once you get this up to rank 10, it will go all the way up to 20%, and once you get the Uber unique, you can increase this by 150%, which is going to bring this up to like a 50% damage buff. So this is just a multiplicative damage buff that's going to apply to everything. So pretty solid, honestly. Like overall, like I'm pretty excited to see what happens once I actually get like permanent uptime on this, because that should theoretically increase like the passive damage on your companions by a lot. Because if this is doing 34,000 to 42,000, increase that to like 50%, it's going to take it up to like 60. Increase that like by another 45%, right, when you have heightened malice up, and then all of a sudden it's going to go up to like 100,000. Wolves passive damage, I mean, isn't really that great, but since you do have 3 wolves, I mean, that's still alright. Like, I think it maxed out at level 100 without any of the buffs before I could get this up to like 27,000, and that was before the passive damage buff on wilds. So that means, actually no, I got it up to like 40,000. So that means I might be able to, at level 100, get this up to like where these guys are slapping at like 100,000 damage a hit. So the passive damage is looking promising. We'll see how it turns out at high level, because the thing is the wolves end up dying pretty quick. So even if they do a lot of damage, it's like if they just like jump into a pack of things and then just die, doesn't matter. And then I also don't have Tybalts on them yet either. So I mean, really, there's a pretty good shot that I could make the passive damage actually relevant once I get everything together, but I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, guys, yeah, thanks for watching. Link in the description if you want to see, kind of like, I guess, the full starter build, stuff like that. Again, when it comes to Paragon, just remember, all you need to know is just go Inner Beast, focus Wilds first, and that alone will take you really far. Grab Exploit, and then after that you can just pick up things like Territorial, stuff like that. I'll have another video coming out once I hit 100 that's going to have the full Paragon, full everything, after I actually test things, see what's like the most optimal, get, you know, like my Shinishal constructs and stuff like that leveled up. And I do think there's going to be a bunch of changes to the construct coming very quickly because of how bad it seems that this season is being received. I'm enjoying playing the season. You know, I like playing Diablo. The thing I was excited for was the Gauntlet, but, you know, so I think there's going to be a bunch of changes too, so that could also change some things up, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you next time. Thanks.